Okay, I just want to welcome you guys tonight. I'm Brandy Walker. In case you guys don't know, I think most of you know me. I'm a Sapphire Ambassador, and we wanted to get together tonight and do a call on how to not reinvent the wheel. Y'all, this is such a super, super important subject. If if you've maybe just started or you've been growing a team and you're trying to figure out, what am I doing wrong? Why are we not continuing to grow? Or even if you are growing, y'all, this is just something that everybody needs to know. It's something I had to learn. I didn't just start out with Plexus knowing how to duplicate well or how to be consistent. This is something that I've worked really, really hard on. I've worked really hard to train my team on. So we want to continue that, and we want to teach it to you so that you can in turn go back and teach your teams how to do this. So tonight we have two very special guests, two amazing leaders on my team. They're both senior Rubies, Tina Conrad and Allison Caldwell. Y'all, these guys, I picked them specifically for this call because they do duplication so well. They're two of the people on my team that if I look at their teams and I go, okay, they are carrying out the steps that I've taught them, or that my upline, it's not just me, but my upline's above me, because everybody above me is a diamond. And obviously they are doing something right because they have taught their teams to duplicate, and these guys do it so well. The first person we want to bring on is Tina Conrad, and Tina is a mom of 3 boys. She's a former military spouse. She's a stay-at-home mama right now, but she's very busy, and I know a lot of you can relate. People ask me sometimes, what do you do all day? Like, oh my gosh, we only need stay-at-home mamas. I've worked both sides, worked full-time and been a stay-at-home mom, and I can tell you that you're equally busy doing both, really. It's all relative. So Tina's going to talk about consistency and how it relates to your business and why it's so important, and and really what it looks like for her, because I feel like I love hearing from different leaders and how they, interpret consistency and duplication, and it kind of looks different for everybody. And so I just want to introduce Tina, and go for it, girl.
All righty. I think I'm unmuted. Well, I'm glad you started off with that, because I've been married almost 30 years. I've got 3 boys, like she said, and I've had part-time jobs here and there, worked in the schools where my boys were. I've also homeschooled for several years, and but I've always been stay-at-home mom or stay-at-home homeschooling mom. And I get that a lot is, are you looking for something to do? I mean, like, I'm just sitting around doing nothing, And, without going into detail, everybody has commitments outside their family. And we are definitely those people. We always have a lot going on. And even with my adult kids living in the area, there's always pulls. So, by nature, I am not organized. I am not, Brandy and I are kind of kindred spirits there. But I'm just not a person that is very scheduled. I've always been very relaxed, very shoot from the hip and go, just kind of roll with things. And you cannot do that with a business like this. And I've learned that. But I also have I've just learned a lot along the way, and I think Brandy's been very patient with me along the way. But we've been close friends for over 20 years, and she knows me well. So for me, instead of beating myself up over not being that organized or that person that has, the goal is for me to have business hours between, A and between hour B or whatever, every day. But reality is that's just not going to happen. And I don't see that happening in the near future. So instead of beating myself up over that, like I did for a long time, I just make sure what I do is consistent no matter where I am. So, and this is probably not something that would work for everybody, but for me, I take my stuff with me, and I work from the car. I work from the pickup line. I have been known to, I remember the day that registration came out for, I don't even remember what it was now, but it was like craziness. So I sat in a parking lot for like 5 hours. It's crazy. That's not normal. I know that's not normal, but that day, that's what I needed to do. And I was super productive. But anyway, as far as my just being consistent, one of the first training calls I was ever on was with Brandy and Julia, and something Julia said has always stuck with me. And she said, you can work this business part-time and you can work this business full-time, but you cannot work it sometimes. And that stuck with me because that's how I would be naturally. I would be the person that, oh, I didn't fit it in today. I had lunch. I had this. I had an appointment. I'll do it tomorrow. And I know naturally that's me, but I also know that I'm not going to be successful that way. And I'm not going to take care of my customers and my team that way. So anyway, I remind myself of that. And for me, it was starting with a goal. When I joined, I was a wholesale customer. I had no intention, like 90% of the people I know, of doing the business. But as soon as I saw that I could get my products paid for, I knew there had to be some sort of system to get there. And so that was, like I remember talking with Brandy about it, that could be 15 minutes a day. So I had to find my goal first, and that goal has changed as I've gone along. But whatever my goal was, then I worked backwards to figure out what I needed to be consistent with, what my daily activity would look like to achieve that goal. Does that make sense? So for me, when I think of consistency, and Allison and I were brainstorming earlier as well, when consistency, I think of posting. And, they've put out so much training and so many do's and don'ts and keeping up with the algorithms, but posting regularly, your IPA, that's somewhere that I have struggled in the past. And when I've struggled there, my business has struggled. It's just evident. It's like a mirror. And IPA is, reaching out to people every single day. Your 5-3-1, following up and training yourself. And that was all new to me, but I have just found that as I go, it is so, so important. And to not look, and we had this talk today, not to look at the big picture, but do the little steps every single day. And, life happens. My son was in the hospital about a year ago for about a week. And to say that I did 5-3-1 every single day would not be true. But I did what I could. And then afterwards, I made my list and I made it up. And if you have a team, reaching out to your team regularly, and your team page, making sure you post on your team page, and then personal development. I'm not a reader. I'm not a reader. And so you throw out all these amazing books. Fortunately, they're all really thin, but it's important. It's so, so important. And I feel like, I hear all the time, things are busy, and, I'm a compassionate person. I don't ever want to sound like I don't care or whatever, but at some point you find your goal. And if you want to be gold, or you want to be senior gold, or you want to be emerald, or whatever, you have to draw the line in the sand and say no excuses. Obviously leaving room for emergencies and things like that. But everybody's busy, and everybody's busy looks different. Everybody's daily activity looks different, but the bottom line is the same. So I don't know if there's much more than that. I don't know if you want me to elaborate on what I do personally, or yes. Okay. I'm one of those that, because of the way I am naturally, it's been difficult for me to find one system that works for me. But I have a planner. I think most people have a planner. I'm actually kind of obsessed with planners. I ended up with 4 this year, but I had to actually zone in and decide to use one. Otherwise, I'm just all over the place. So, but like Office Max or Office Depot, that's like a toy store, man. That's awesome. So I have my planner, and this year, this is like, everybody has their own things that they look for in a planner, but this year was like a total bonus. I have to show you this really, really quick. This planner specifically is actually one of the cheaper ones, but it comes with these pages that they come lined or graph, and you put them in wherever you want. So I had a Zoom call with my coach one day, and I popped one in for that month, and I've just elaborated, but I can take those out and move them around as much as I want to. And that has been huge for me, because I can make a list of who I'm going to follow up with that month. And depending on what happened that month, I might put it on the next month and carry it over. So that's been really key for me. And as everybody, we all have a phone that we use, and I use my notes section all the time. So I have folders in there that are different Plexus things, like Plexus instructions, Plexus. I'll save a few posts and things, but most of it's stuff that I'm going to need to go back to, things that I send to potentials or things that I send to my new ambassadors. But I keep a running list under notes for Tina of things that I know I need to put in my order, or people that took advantage of a special that I have, so that I have them all in one place, because I know I'm not going anywhere without my phone. So that works really, really well for me. And I text myself all the time. I don't know if anybody else does that, but it works.
I've never thought of that. I mean, I do text myself, but not like reminders. It's actually a really good idea.
Right. My notes for tonight, I had to run to a nearby town to take Andrew a few minutes ago. And while I was going, I was voice texting. And these are my notes for the call. And I just text them to myself. And then I can copy and paste them and edit or whatever. But who knows how many texts I have. I look really popular, but they're all from me. So... But anyway, so those are just, I don't do anything special. It's just a matter of communicating regularly. And I will always say the bathroom is the best place to do your work. Like, nobody's bothering me in there. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, I mean, I don't sit in the bathroom. If I'm out to lunch with you, I'm not going to go work my office in the bathroom or anything. But you know what I mean?
No, we've all done it.
Yeah. But you know, if you're really busy, or you're at a get together and you know you have something to do, but you don't want to be rude, it's like, oh, I'll be right back. You know, and they never know. So anyway, my advice is just find what works for you. First, find your goal, and find what works for you and do it every single day. And if you miss a day, don't beat yourself up over it. Don't quit. You know, it's all like this, but you get to a point where none of that affects you. You may have a venting session or something like that, but you're in it for the long haul regardless of what happens. And I'll share one quote with you real quick, and I'll let you go. If I can get my icons out of here and I can actually see it. But one of my favorite quotes is, if you want to be more productive, you need to become master of your minutes. And that's by Crystal Payne. And that is like my life story right there, because I'm naturally inconsistent, not just, you know, with office things and bookkeeping, but everything, you know, working out or cleaning my house or whatever. I'm just, you know, whatever. But it's important to become master of your minutes if you want to get where you want to go. So that's all I got.
Awesome, Tina. And I just want to add real quick, you know, talking about consistency, you know, sometimes maybe you get to, like, you know, Allison and Tina are senior Ruby, and you think, you know, everybody knows that I do Plexus. I don't need to post every day, or I don't need to, you know, reach out every day. I can kind of sit back and let my team just kind of help me get there. Y'all, I can promise you, your team will mirror whatever you do. If I take a break, my team takes a break. It's almost like having a substitute teacher.
Yeah.
If you slack off, your class is going to slack off, and it's just important. Maybe everybody on your Facebook does know you do Plexus, but at this point, you're going to still be posting for your team. They've got. If you're not doing it, I mean, if you're not doing these things, you can't expect your team to do it either. You've got to do the things that you're asking them to do. If you're not doing live videos, I'm not saying you have to get on there and pour your heart out, you know, every day or anything like that. But if you're not doing those things, your team's probably not going to do it either. So just got a team page. I know some of our teams have combined team pages, which honestly I think is a great idea. But if you still have your own team page, if you are not posting on there every single day, at least 3 to 4 times a day, you might want to consider combining with somebody else, somebody in your upline or downline, because y'all, people see that your team will die showing up to work every day, and that's what we mean by consistency. So
before we move on, were you done with consistency? Because I wanted to throw in something else.
Go ahead.
Tina and I had talked a little bit about it. We were talking about consistency in your branding as well. So if you are, you know, a fitness junkie and you're eating clean and you're doing all these things, and then all of a sudden somebody's seeing pictures of you and you're out at a restaurant with like this pile of horribly unhealthy food and 12 desserts, and people are like, I don't really know if that's the kind of person I'm wanting to take health advice from. Like, and I'm not saying you have to be perfect, but you have to own the balance there and own what your message is and be consistent with that message. So if you are, talking about health and you're talking about your faith and and then the next post is like full of foul language, or it's like a really volatile post, and then people are going, I don't really know where she stands with all, because you're not being consistent with the image that you're portraying. It needs to be you. It's not supposed to be a false image at all. It needs to be absolutely 100% you, but it needs to be consistent. Yes. And it's got to be through that all the way across the board on social media, because people need to know that this is your lifestyle. This is what you do, and it's consistent in everything that you do. And you don't need to be chasing people away with, things that aren't consistent with the rest of your message.
Yeah,
I wanted to just add that in because Tina and I talked about that earlier.
Yes, that is such a great
point. Absolutely.
I just want to piggyback real quick on what she said about foul language. When you're bringing you don't have to be spiritual or agree with me, but if you're putting foul language out there and you're trying to run a business on your personal page, y'all, that is a big, big no-no. So I really, I'm not saying don't be you. That's not what I'm saying, but that's just not, in my way, something that you'd want to be putting out there. So
it ranks right, in my opinion, it ranks up there with, if you're, at a restaurant and your waiter starts swearing at somebody in the room. We don't have a storefront. It's our life is our storefront, but it's the same thing. Everybody looks at an employee as being very unprofessional if they're talking foully to somebody else, or they're calling them a name, or they're arguing or whatever. It's the exact same thing, but it's your storefront. It's just hard to think of it that way because it's your life too.
Yeah, that's a great point, Allison. One thing, Tina, I'm going to go back to you for just a minute. I'm just going to ask you, we said tonight that we were going to talk about comparison. And this is it's very near and dear to my heart, because I can tell you, even as a Sapphire ambassador, y'all, we all do it. We all compare ourselves. It doesn't matter. I know diamonds that still compare themselves. And, the thing is about that is you've really just got to find a way to just not do it. Like it will drive you crazy. And everybody's journey is different. I can just tell you real quick, whenever I first signed up, and I was really kind of went pretty fast my first couple of months. I was very close to gold, and my sister-in-law passed away. I was just right there. I was so close to making Leaders Retreat, and I just, because of the nature of how she died and everything, I felt like it just wasn't appropriate to post about Plexus for about a week or so, and I missed my points for Leaders Retreat. And I lived in DC. Well, we lived in Northern Virginia, but it's very close to DC, and that's where Leaders Retreat was that year. No, I didn't make it. And do you know how difficult it was to live in the same city as all the people that you knew, all the people that were, had been in Plexus the same amount of time as you had? They were all, bringing their spouses. They won this free trip to Leaders Retreat, and I did not make it. And I lived there. It was very, very difficult. And y'all, I could have just sat on Facebook that whole weekend and just cried on myself. And, it stung. I'm not going to lie, it stung. But, and I can't use, my sister-in-law passing away as a total excuse. I could have worked hard at the beginning. I just didn't make it. And what I decided to do that weekend was turn Facebook off. I made a mental decision. I went down to DC. I took pictures with all the signs and posted about it. And then I just didn't really look at Facebook for those days while everybody was there. And I just made up my mind that I was not going to let that, ruin my journey, that was things happened. And I just went full force again. So you just got to find a way. If you're just sitting back right now and you've got maybe a sideline or somebody that, maybe they started the exact same time as you and they're already, senior gold or whatever, and you're not, yeah, that's okay. Everybody's journey is different. And Tina, I just want to ask you a little bit about that. A little bit of a story here.
Yep. You want me to just go?
Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I don't know. I know a lot of you on here are on my team, but a lot of you may not know that Lisa Hudson is my level 2. And she made Emerald in March, right? March. And so she's Emerald and I'm Senior Ruby, and I could not be more excited for her. She works her tail off. It's timing. And we all supported each other. We helped each other through that. And I know whenever I get there, she'll be cheering for me as well. I have a level 1 that will probably go Emerald in the next couple of months. And I mean, of course I want to be there. Everybody wants to be there. However, everybody's journey is different. Everybody's business is different. And I've got to trust in God's timing. If I'm praying for my team, then why would I be surprised when they do amazing things? Because he can do amazing things, and he does. So I just think that's a perfect example of a situation we could really get hung up on, but there's absolutely no reason, like there's not an ounce of my being that is not overly joyed for Lisa and her team. I see Kelly's on here and Kristen's on here, and it's awesome. It's just awesome. We are one plexus, which sounds, sometimes like kind of goofy sounding, but it's true. I mean, we're a big tribe of women that love each other and support each other, and we all have the same mission, and we glorify the same God. So we're good. But that's just something that comes to my mind when I hear of people comparing, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah. It does.
And as far as comparison, something I heard on the radio the other day, it was just a little snippet on one of the Christian radio stations, and she was talking about women in workplaces and things like that. And she stopped and said, her success is not your failure. Mm-hmm. Completely different. So when you're comparing yourself to someone, and comparison is the thief of joy. So when you're looking at someone else and they're where you want to be, and you're looking at them going, well, she made it. Well, her success is not your failure. It's totally, totally not that at all. So if you're looking at what this other person did and saying, I want that, and you might be a little jealous, and that's normal. I think we've all had our moment where I'm like, wow, I really wish I'd known. That'd be really cool to be there. We've all had our moments. Jealousy is a very human, normal thing to feel, right? But it's what you do with that that's going to make the difference. So, some people will take jealousy and they use it as an excuse not to work because, well, she made it and I'm doing all this stuff and what about me? Why didn't I get it? And that's not going to get you anywhere. But you can take jealousy and you can use that to fuel you and inspire you to do better. You can use that because you look at that person and say, okay, she has something that I want. This person has something that I want. I want to know, what did you do to get there? Because I can do that too.
Right.
And in this business, it totally can be done.
Mm-hmm.
I will tell you that every time I saw somebody that maybe was had started, because I can tell you there were about 5 people that started about the same time I did that went Emerald a year before I did, a year. So, and I think I went fairly, not super slow, not super fast, but so what I did with that, instead of getting jealous and being like, dang it, why can't I do that? I, asked them to add me to their team pages. I asked them what specifically they're doing. I took tons and tons and tons of notes. I got people, to run with me. I mean, other sidelines. And I cannot stress enough that you've got to find sidelines that are, about the same as you in the business, maybe a little bit ahead of you. Find out what they're doing, y'all. Get to know other people. Get on other people's team pages. If they'll let everybody, I'm not saying that you just have to let any and every team page you take your teams, but find somebody that you trust. That was one of my biggest encouragements, and it still is. I signed my day are sidelines that they have no financial gain from me whatsoever, but I still talk to them all the time. I mean, I was just on the phone with Melissa Amos today. I mean, we just pick up the phone and call each other, and if we're having a bad day or a good day, or just want to chat about challenges or whatever we've got going on. It's really important to find somebody like that. Okay, the next thing that we want to talk about is Alice is going to tell us what Randy and their team are doing for duplication. And y'all, their team is knocking it out of the park, and I'm super excited about it. And I think a lot of these things that we're gonna be implementing with my team as well. And I just want her to tell us what you guys are doing, Allison.
Okay. Well, I know I've already talked a couple times, but I technically didn't introduce myself. So, but for those of y'all that don't know me, I'm Allison Caldwell. I am a senior Ruby ambassador, and I've been with Plexus for about a year and a half, maybe just a little bit over at this point. And I remember when I first started, and Randy Underwood's my upline, and I told her that I wanted these products for my whole family and I couldn't afford them. And I said, can I get them paid for? She said, will you do what I tell you? That was like the first words out of her mouth. Will you do what I say? And I said, sure. And she said, you can ask me questions. She's like, but if I say do it, and you will get your products paid for. And I was like, all right. So I learned really, really quickly about how important duplication is, because y'all, I questioned a lot of it. I wasn't new to network marketing. I was new to this style of it. I didn't do a lot online like that, but I have been in multiple different direct sales, home-based businesses, all that kind of stuff. I'm talking like 6 of them. And so it was always hard for me to believe, because people would tell me, oh, just do this. And I was like, good grief. It was just, I felt like I was always spinning my wheels and things weren't happening. So I was kind of like, okay, I'll do what you say, Randy. And every single thing that she's told me to do works. So I will say, like Brandy said, above her, diamond, like it's just diamonds all the way up. So what this team passes down works. But you have to do it. And again, you have to be consistent, because duplication and consistency just go hand in hand. So basically, she started telling me things like, you have to get people signed up and get their subscription turned on. Well, guess what? When I started, I didn't value the subscription. I didn't understand what the point was for anyone. I was like, well, that's just forcing them to have to order all the time. And I don't want to force my people to do that. And they don't have to have it on. So what's the big deal? I didn't get it. I didn't understand the value in it. So in the beginning, when you're looking at duplication for stuff like that, find the value in it. And if you're not sure what that is, talk to your upline and say, hey, why? Why are we doing this? Tell me why this is important, because I'm not sure I'm really getting it. But don't not do it. So make sure that you're understanding why. And once she explained to me that it was about making sure that they're consistent on the products, because so many people who don't have a subscription on don't order again. And then guess what? You're not able to help them because they don't have any more product and they've given up and decided it hasn't worked. Yep. So things like that are hugely important. So that was like one of the first things that I realized in duplication, that I had to do it the way Randy was saying. And it wasn't working originally for me because I wasn't using very good verbiage. I wasn't asking people in the right way. I was like, well, do you want to turn your subscription on? Well, if you ask people questions, 90% of the time they're like, no. It doesn't really matter what you ask them. Our knee-jerk reaction is no. Ask any mom. Hey, mom, no. Like, really? That's our first knee-jerk reaction every time. So you've got to learn to phrase things in a way that people, when they say no, like, is there a reason that you don't want to turn your subscription on? No. Okay, great. Let me help you get it set up. Oh, dang it. What did I do? Like, they might not even realize what they just agreed to, because you're phrasing it in a way that when they say no, they're like, oh. And we know that it's of benefit to them. Like, the whole point is to make sure that they're getting what they need to give these products a chance to work. Mm-hmm. And otherwise they're not getting that. So again, just doing what people are telling you to do, the people above you, because this team overall is amazing. There are so many resources. Y'all have a lot of sidelines in different teams, and they're not necessarily getting the same kinds of trainings. They're not getting the same duplication stuff. I actually had a friend message me, and she's on a different team. I don't know who her upline is or anything, but she was like, well, can we do some of the stuff y'all do? That looks fun. And I had another friend that messaged me and was like, I don't even know what to do. Like, she had no idea how to talk to people about it, and her upline doesn't talk to her. So when I say, like, this is the best team ever, seriously, y'all, this is the best team ever. And if they say do it, because it works. It really, really does. Not always on the same timeline that we want it to, but God's timeline is perfect. So do the work, and then he has work to bless. Another thing that I had to learn early on to duplicate was smart signups. I had a really hard time figuring out how to get people in the right place, because I just thought everybody needed the best pricing. But then guess what? If they ordered once, they really didn't get the best pricing, did they? Because they just paid a join fee for a discount that still cost them a few more bucks than preferred. Mm-hmm. And if they quit after 30 days, if they weren't committed, because I didn't ask them ahead of time, I wasn't doing that right away. And so again, Randy taught me, here's how you do smart signups. Hugely important. Get that commitment from them ahead of time. Know that they're in it. No less than 60 days, ideally 90 days. Get them to commit to 90 days. And that's the only way that I'll sign anybody up as an ambassador right now, because otherwise I'm like, you know what, if you're not sure and you just want to give it 30 days, be a preferred customer. Honestly, I don't really offer retail to anybody, because I don't see why you would do that. Because it's free to get your preferred discount. But, if they're only going to do it for 30 days, do it that way. Get them in that right box, in that box that's right for them. But it's your business. So you get to say, this is what I think is right for you, based on what you're telling me about how committed you are, about what you want to spend, about, what your interests are and what your health goals are. This is what's best for you. And let them know, and be upfront with them, and give them the expectations. And then your people will feel better taken care of. They'll stick around longer because they understand and they know that you're looking out for them. It's never about us. And I think all of y'all probably already know that, but it's really never about us. And that goes along, same thing with subscriptions. If people are not ready to do that, if they're not at a point where they're like, yeah, okay, I'll turn on a subscription because that's going to be easy for me to keep track of. If they're really, really leery about it, they don't have to do that. They don't have to have a subscription. I always tell them they can go preferred and turn it off, or they can just order retail. It doesn't matter, but I'm not going to even offer them ambassador if they're not willing to do that, because it's not helpful to them. It's not helpful to them at all. And then I'm doing more work trying to follow up with them and, hey, are you sure you don't want to, like, let's do this? And you're spinning your wheels trying to drag people along on this health journey. And if they're not there, why create that extra work for yourself? Mm-hmm. So getting them signed up smart in the first place is a huge thing to duplicate. And like Brandy was saying, you're leading by example. So if you're not signing people up in the right way, if you're not signing people up as an ambassador with a subscription on, then your team's not going to do it either, because they're not going to see the value in it either. So you've got to be leading by example in everything that you're duplicating. As far as posting, again, leading by example.
Can I add something real quick about the smart signups? Is make sure you're sending written directions every single time. Y'all don't just send somebody your website. Send them directions, because the directions that I send, and they're in the albums on my team page. If you guys don't have them, it's got, it tells how to sign up. It tells, how to sign up. You can write out your own directions if you don't like those, but just make sure that you send them something and not just your website. And you, again, talk to them about why they have to set up a subscription or why it's important.
Yeah. Or even get on the phone with them, which sometimes they still don't get it right, but at least you've done everything that you can do to help them be successful with it. So yeah, totally important. As far as things like posting and making your lists and doing your IPAs and your 531 and all those things, all of that stuff is duplicated down to us. So if you're not doing it, or you're not having results with it, then ask and say, hey, listen, you know, I've been reaching out, but I'm just getting crickets. What do I do? Send that message to your upline, because guess what? They've sent messages to their uplines, who've sent messages to their uplines, and we've all been critiqued and said, okay, here's how you need to word this. Like, let people help you all the way. We've done it. We've done that. We've been there. We've, you know, changed wording. We've had our wording changed, and it's all done to help. So that way, when you're ready and you have a team working and people say, I'm not getting results, you can say, hey, send me what you're sending to people and let me help you. It's all duplication. It's all doing what has been done for you and doing that for the people that you're trying to help. So we do that a lot as far as when we're signing people up. And I know Brandy mentioned she was going to do some of this stuff. Did you want me to go over some of those things? I know you were kind of not sure, but you mentioned that you guys might be implementing. So do you want me to bring in some of that?
Yeah, go ahead and tell them what you guys are doing, if you don't mind.
Okay. When we have a new person, and this is something everyone under Randy has kind of combined. We've all, like Brandy was saying, you know, combined our team page. And we're kind of changing the way that we've done it just a little bit to make it a little bit more streamlined, but it's all trying to get the same information out, the same duplicated information that's been given to us the whole time. So when we have a new ambassador that signs up, we have a welcome email that we're going to send them, and has some important files, things like that, you know, information on getting started, that kind of stuff. And then immediately they get added to our team page and Brandy's team page. And that like needs to be done right away. Of course, they're welcomed. Y'all are used to that. You've seen duplicated welcomes and all that kind of stuff. Again, doing it the way that you're taught. Then we are tagging them in what we're making. We're making a video because we have a few of our senior gold and above leaders that are leading this page. So we have a video of each of us giving a little bit about our testimony and just kind of saying what this page is about. Here are the things you're going to find here. Here's what we're doing. We each have a little testimony, and then we, you know, thank them for being there and joining us and stuff like that. So we're tagging them in that video, and then we're starting a chat. And it doesn't matter if they're my level 5, that upline chat goes all the way up to Brandy. And maybe not everybody on there is interacting, maybe only a few of us, whatever, but they need to know that they have the support. And that goes for wholesalers and for new ambassadors. That was another thing that I struggled with early on, was getting those upline chats going, because I was like, well, they're wholesalers. I don't need to like introduce them to everybody, because then they're going to feel pressured. Well, guess what? They're not feeling pressured because I didn't do it, for one. And it's all in how you present it. If I present it as pressure, like, hey, I really want you to work this with me, here's Randy and Brandy, you know, then of course they're going to feel pressured. If you're talking to them about what is going to be the benefit for them, then you're going to increase your retention, because people are feeling like they're part of a bigger group. They're meeting the people that they're seeing their faces all over the pages, and they're like, oh, so they're more invested. They feel like they have a team of people that are helping them on this health journey, and that's really, really big for people. So we are getting that messenger chat going all the way up to Brandy every single time, talking about, hey, this is my friend so-and-so. She's just signed up for great prices. She's looking forward to, you know, getting a little bit healthier, maybe boosting her immunity and getting some extra energy. And, you know, these are some of my friends who've been doing this longer than me. You know, we're all here to help you have success with these products. For a wholesaler, that would be a great wholesaler one. If they're wanting to work the business, throw a little bit in there about that as well. And that way, everyone in the upline knows what we're talking about and what this person is interested in. So we're not talking business with someone who's a wholesaler right away. If they say, hey, you know, this is really expensive, then we can bring up getting products paid for or whatever. But, you know, you have to kind of give a little guidance in there. And in that chat, we're also talking about the 7 steps to success. So each of our leaders have made a video of that so that we can put that in there and say, if this is a working ambassador, here are the 7 steps to success. You know, watch this video and let's get on a Zoom chat. So that way our welcome calls are going to be shorter. They're going to be easier for people. So when we're getting on a welcome call, we can say, you tell me about you. Tell me about your health journey. Tell me about what you're looking for in this business. So that way they're invested in that. We're getting to listen to them, because that's the whole point. We need to get people asking, or we need to ask questions and get people talking, right? That's what we need to do when we're talking with a prospect about anything. So this is going to make that much easier. We're not going to have these, welcome calls that go on and on and on and on and on, because we're trying to get multiple people telling all these stories, and then we have to go over the 7 steps to success. Then we need to listen to their. So they're getting the welcome video. They're getting that 7 steps video in that chat thread. So they're already starting to see, this is the chat thread I go to for questions. This is where I go to for help. So we're involving all the uplines, and that way, when we get them on a Zoom chat, it's quick. They're seeing, oh, this doesn't take a whole lot of time. This is a fast thing. This is something that's easy for me to duplicate, right? Because we've shown them, you do this, then you do this, then you do this. Mm-hmm. And we're making it very, very easy. And, we've got this checklist, so it's very easy to duplicate. It's very, very easy for them to see what we did. So we can say, well, we're going to walk through the same thing with your new ambassador that we did with you. First, we're going to sign them up. We're going to, send them this welcome. We're going to get them on the pages, and we walk them right through it. And it's very, very simple to duplicate. And that's what we need to be doing, and making it easy and making it consistent. And for the wholesalers, what we're starting to do, because a lot of wholesalers aren't interested in getting on a call, because they're always afraid they're going to get pressured. Even though I was kind of wanting to work the business, I was like, I don't know if I want to get on a call with Randy's upline Brandy. I don't know if you know how freaked out I was about that call with you, but I was like, I don't know if I really want to get on this call. I was all freaked out.
I did the same thing. I didn't get on a call for probably until I was gold. No.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Because it's kind of nerve-wracking, because you don't know what to expect. So what we're trying to do is set those expectations for people and say, we want to get on and talk about your goals for the products. And, and we can answer any questions that you have about the business, because you've said you're interested a little bit, but, let us see where we can help you, because we want to support you where you're at and where you want to go.
Yes. And
that way they totally get that. It's no pressure, because we're not saying, hey, we're going to tell you all about this. They've watched it. They know they can ask questions. Mm-hmm. For wholesalers, we're actually doing a weekly. We're going to see how this works. We're doing a bi-weekly call, and we're going to encourage them in that chat thread. Hey, this is a call specifically for wholesalers. These are people who are just taking products. It has nothing to do with the business. We'd like to get on and talk to you about how to take the products, what to expect when you're taking them. Any questions, talk about maybe some troubleshooting things, and just really go over the different ways that people do this, because everyone takes their products differently. So we'd love for you to just hop on for a little bit, listen, see if you can get some information out of that. And if you have questions, then you can ask them there, or you can come back to this chat thread and ask here. So we're really hoping that we can get some people involved in that. Our first one is actually going to be tomorrow, so we'll let y'all know how that goes. But that's a way to kind of, again, get them feeling like they're part of something bigger, because that's what's going to help people stick around longer. And again, that is easy for them to duplicate. Oh, we're going to put them on this call. They don't feel like they have to know everything. So that's kind of where we're going with our new ambassador stuff. We're really just trying to make it all so that it's not confusing for new people, so that it's easy for them to say, oh, I have this checklist right here. I just go down this little checklist with my new people, and immediately they have, multiple uplines in there who are ready to help. And that teaches your new people in the chat threads. They learn how to talk to people. They learn what to say. They learn how to troubleshoot. They learn how to talk about the products, how to bring up the business. They learn all of that stuff in these chat threads. And that, again, makes duplication really, really, really easy. Yeah. So, and as far as just duplication going along with consistency, all this stuff has to be done every single time. So you can't duplicate sometimes and not duplicate other times. Because like Brandy said, your team does what you do. Mm-hmm. If you stop duplicating, guess what? They stop duplicating. Yep. If you go back to it, they go back to it. But if you're not consistent, then nobody's growing. Mm-hmm. Nobody's business is working as well as it should be. So They really do go hand in hand, but that's mostly what I had for duplication. I don't know if you wanted to add anything, Tina or Brandy.
Well, when I first started, because I was very, very introverted, I know y'all don't believe that, but I really was, and I still am. But when I first started, everything that Julia did, I didn't really ask her anything. I was just like taking notes. I was writing everything down, every single thing that she did. So this duplication thing, she didn't even know I was interested in the business, y'all, but I was writing everything down. I lived in Italy at the time, and I wasn't going to start my business until we moved back, because technically you weren't supposed to be allowed to sell over there. But I was watching every single thing she did. I watched every single video. I watched every contest, every email that she sent me, like because I had a lot of detox symptoms. I mean, a lot of detox symptoms, and I almost quit, but she just kept encouraging me. And I told my people, when I started signing people up, I told them the same things that she told me. So it's so important, even when you're talking to somebody about duplication, about detox. If you don't know what you're talking about, y'all get back in those three-way chats and get your uplines involved. Y'all, people, for whatever reason, they will listen to somebody else besides you. I know it sounds crazy, and you could be like a total expert on gut health, but they're going to listen to somebody else sometimes more than you. Not always. But if you've got, somebody that's just like, I just don't know if these products for me, just say, you know what, I've got this friend that is so knowledgeable, and she is really awesome. She's been taking the products for a while, a year or whatever. I mean, whoever your upline is. And I'm going to put you in a chat thread with them, because I want to explain to her what's going on with you and see what she has to say. Y'all, that works almost every single time. I can't tell you how many either chat threads or three-way phone calls I've been on where people were ready to throw in the towel. They were sick of plexus. They didn't want anything else to do with it. But we just kind of talked through what, maybe they hadn't pooped in 4 days. Y'all, that makes anybody want to quit. But it's probably just because maybe they're taking, BioCleanse in the morning. They need to be taking it at night before bed. That's exactly what happened to me. My stomach blew up like a balloon. I'm not kidding you. I already had constipation issues, and taking BioCleanse during the day did not work for me. And if Julie and I hadn't talked that out, I probably would not be sitting here today. So that part is so important. It doesn't matter what the problem is. Get them in those three-way chats. Y'all, people just automatically feel connected. I remember Julia put me in a chat thread the very first night. I wasn't interested in selling at the time anyway. She put me in a chat thread with Angie Zingwalt and Ellen Ford. And I just remember they were funny, and they didn't pressure me to sell, but I was like, okay, these are kind of cool people, they're kind of real. They're not just some face on a team page somewhere. And I think that's a lot of times people look at the person that's running a team page and like, oh, they're just kind of way up there and they don't have time for me. That's not true at all, y'all. Pretty much everybody on this call, I know that you guys will stop whatever you're doing to answer questions. So just make sure that you're doing those three-way chats. That is just my legs that are doing that are the ones that are growing. My legs that don't do that, they're not growing at all.
Right. I just wanted to add something to that, Brandy. I think, on our team, we have a lot of people that do that, but I was one in the beginning that made me nervous. I didn't want to offend that person. I didn't want to cross a line. I didn't want to add them to a team page without their permission and stuff. They don't know what they don't know. You know what I mean? They don't know what that team page is. They don't know what they're missing out on because they don't know the information. So what I found too is with that three-way message, you really have a window of time right when they join. They are all ears. They're spending this money, they're joining, they have goals, and you're helping them. And when you don't do that thread and you wait to do that thread when they're doubting and when they're miserable, they already have half a wall built. You know what I mean? That's what I found. And then you're undoing it, and it works, but it's so much better if you do it right off the bat because they're excited. And there's something so validating about a third person. And I feel silly saying that to somebody else because then I'm the third person and I'm not all that. But it's just that other person that has been through these ropes and stuff. And then I tell, my ambassador that's adding that person, we don't expect you to have all the answers. I don't have all the answers, but we have got this team of hundreds of people, and we've got all of these people and a back office full of information, we will get the answers. And so when you have that third person helping you, it just changes everything. But you've got to do it in the beginning. Otherwise, you're trying to gain ground that you've lost, that you never had to lose in the first place.
Yep. Three-way calls, get on team pages, get them, do it all when they first start, because they up, and
it helps so much.
A week later, they're like, oh, whatever, I don't even know what this Plexus stuff is, if you don't get them plugged in right away. Also, if you got somebody that is joining for the business, y'all, if you know they're going to do the business right away, get them on Brandy's Runners or whatever team that you're on. Get them on some kind of runners chat, so that they've got other people to connect with right away. I think that has been instrumental in our team culture, because we have so many people that are just spread out. We don't necessarily have a lot of local teams. I know Lisa's team is local, but I think just getting people connected so that they can ask questions about their personal health, or they can ask questions right away if their upline is busy, or maybe they're just not answering questions for whatever reason. I hope that you all are always answering questions for your level ones right away. But getting them on those chat threads, that might even be added to the checklist, because that's super important for somebody that's running with the business. So,
can I ask you a question real quick, Brandy? When you're talking about duplication and all of the things that you were mentioning, Allison, does everybody have those? Allison and I were talking today, when the back office updated in October, that really, we really had to throw away all of our printed directions and our graphics that we'd made and all of those things. So does everybody have the email that we need to be sending with the updated information and directions and the 7 steps? And there were a couple other things, but is there a place we can drop those things so that everybody has the right information? Or
several of those things are already on my team page in the albums. And I don't know if you guys, I know Randy's team page and Tina's, Allison's, all you guys have great resources. Just make sure you utilize them. Go to your team pages and look in the albums and the files. Y'all, there's so much information. All this stuff we talk about, it's there. I'm pretty sure the 7 steps to success are on mine as well. They're not in a video, but they are written out. Or you can just search the team page for that. But it's pretty there. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's there on my team page as well. But yeah, any of that stuff, Tina, y'all are welcome to add it to the files on my team page. And y'all make sure that your new people know that stuff's there too, because every so often I'll do a post on my team page and just do a screenshot of the album and say, hey, you guys, make sure that you're checking these out. And people are like, oh, I didn't even know that was there. So y'all make sure that your new people know that stuff's there. I'm going to open it up real quick for any questions and just see if you guys have any.
I had a quick question as you're talking about getting in the 3-way chats with people. I know you're talking about getting 3-way chats with new ambassadors, but say I'm having an issue with the customer, preferred customer, whatever. Would you be open to being in the conversation with that as well?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. Anybody that's having issues. Even if you want to do 3-way chats just for customers, that honestly, y'all, the more 3-way chats you can do, the better.
But yeah.
And it's because still, again, that third-party validation. I listen to somebody else that, and if you've got somebody that maybe has Crohn's or ulcerative colitis or migraines, it's okay too to grab somebody that's experienced. Somebody that's had a testimony like that, or like Carrie Ward. I know that she, I think it's her husband and several family members. They have a lot of gut diagnosis like that, and she's a great person. I'm not saying bombard her with every single 3-way chat, but if you've got a particular case, find somebody that's dealt with something like that too. Include your upline on it as well. But
the person that is new is more likely to ask questions, I've found as well, if that thread has already begun, because they've already been told, anytime you have questions, you're welcome to text or call me, but use this thread too, and we can both help you or whatever.
Yeah, for sure. Anybody else? Nothing? Okay, well, I just really want to thank you guys for getting on tonight, Tina and Allison. That was awesome. This duplication thing, y'all, it's not hard. It's just doing the same thing every single time. And once you get into the habit of it, you might think, oh, this is so much. I don't know. I can't remember. You've got a checklist. I have a checklist. It's not the exact same as Allison's, but we do have a checklist, and I'll post that under the post on my team page that has this call. I'll post the checklist. It'll probably be changing soon, but for now, that's what we're using. And yeah, thank you guys for getting on. I really appreciate it. And I took lots of notes, and I hope you guys did too. So anytime you have questions, I want to take a picture. Make sure that, you guys message your upline, message me, message Allison, Tina, Randy, anybody. We'll be glad to help you guys. Sorry, there are bugs. But I want to take a team picture real quick. Okay? All right, 1, 2, 3. I'm going to switch the page so I can get everybody. Ooh, y'all, sorry, I got bugs. Okay, all right, thanks, guys. See you guys later. Oh. Getting attacked.